Hello friends, welcome back to the Dork site. Today it's a test ride that I've been dreading and avoiding for a very long time. Today I'm finally getting some seat time on the KTM 690 Enduro R. But Dork, the 690 is a great bike. Why are you afraid of riding it? Why have you been dreading it? Because I don't want to buy it. I'm a dual sport guy at heart. I ride adventure bikes because they get me places I want to go farther away comfortably. And they're fun in their own way to ride off-road, but what I'd really love is a dual sport with the power and capability to get me places on the highway, long rides, you know, a touring style, do hours and hours of highway, and then when I get there, be able to shred and thrash on it like I can a dual sport. This is a 320-pound, almost 700cc, very powerful, very capable dual sport motorcycle that has the chops to handle the highway, and there's a reason why people use it for exactly the purpose that I want it for. If I could design a perfect dual sport on paper, this might be it, aside from a few nagging concerns which come with KTMs. So that's why I've avoided riding one, because I don't want it, but today's the day. We're gonna ride it. Let's get out there and see how we enjoy it. So we're here at Power. Thanks to Power for the opportunity. They let me take out these new bikes, and they let me take them off the pavement. So we'll get a little bit of gravel riding in today. Someone always comments on that, like, oh, how come that was just gravel? Well, yeah, what dealership is gonna let you go thrash a freaking brand new bike on a hard enduro track? That just doesn't happen. But they're very nice to let me take these off-road and play with them there. So we'll do some gravel, we'll do some pavement, and then we'll give our final thoughts kind of on test ride first impressions of the 690 Enduro R here. Comes stock with the Conti TKC 80s, which are great adventure bike tires. They don't last very long, but they're great adventure bike tires in my experience. I've only ever run the front, I guess. But people hate them on this bike. They also come on the 500 EXCFs, and they're not aggressive enough for a bike like this. It's like a 50-50 tire, like a bike that you're gonna be on the street a lot with, but also not. That's really what it's for. So if you're gonna treat this like a true dual sport, a true off-road bike, that is maybe not exactly what you're looking for. Okay, first impressions, it's really tall, shockingly, 35.8-inch seat height. Not awful, it's not as tall, or it's about as tall feeling as my 450L. So I've got tiptoes of both feet down, or if I put my foot solidly on the peg, I got the balls of the right foot down on the ground, and vice versa. So not unmanageable, just one of those bikes where you start looking for logs to park next to when you get on and off of it. It has two riding modes. One is street, two is off-road, so we'll start out in one. This bike has cornering ABS and all those fancy electronics that the adventure bikes have. You just don't have a big fancy dash to control it, so we'll play with that stuff and see how it all works. It's all kind of tied into the maps. You'll be happy to know the engine has that familiar KTM box of rocks feel. Like, it is so unlike anything Japanese I've ever ridden. When you start a bike, you immediately know it's a KTM because it's just so rattly and like feels unrefined. Some would say that's raw power, but I think it just feels like they didn't bother to balance the engine or machine everything down to a specific tolerance. But it's just a different type of design. So this is a big thumper, big single cylinder bike, very capable, 320 pounds. This is a nearly 700cc motorcycle that weighs the same as my DRZ. That's why it's that unicorn bike. That's what I'm talking about. Oh man, okay. So I just tested for the TW200, so check out that video if you haven't. So you're gonna get maybe some comparisons, which is not at all fair to the TW200, but the brakes on this are 1,000 times better. It has disc brakes front and rear. I'll tell you this so far, I was really expecting it to feel like a lot different on the highway. I think I was expecting to just be blown away by how awesome it is on the highway, and the stark contrast between that and other dual sports I've ridden. And honestly, it doesn't really feel that different than my 450L on the highway. It's uncomfortable, it's hard to hold on to. The 450L had plenty of power to go highway speeds. You can cruise for longer at a lower RPM, but in terms of like this being the ultimate, oh my god, it's so comfortable on the highway too, it's not that. It's still a dual sport. I don't know if I expected it to be different. I guess in my head I did, but it makes perfect sense that it still rides like a dual sport. It's still a huge thumper. That said, all kinds of torque, all kinds of power, you know, it's going to take you anywhere. But honestly, I do feel like I'm fighting it. I feel like it's a little bit harder to ride. Obviously, it should be, but like, it just depends on what kind of riding you want to do. If you want to go as fast as possible and you don't mind working to do that, great bike. If you don't, then you may find it exhausting to ride this bike, or at least so far on the highway in my limited highway time. Let's take it off-road on the gravel and see how we feel about that. We're gonna put it in the other mode. So we're gonna put it in mode 2, which is the gravel off-road. It's the off-road mode. Changes up it's got off-road traction control, changes the ABS, lean sensitive ABS. It's got all that as far as I know based on the quick reading I did before I got on it. So let's see how it does. Again, I know this is not a crazy hard enduro trail, but it is off pavement and we're lucky to be able to do this much. So let's see how we feel. Yeah! Oh, it's torquey. Okay, yeah, so I was just riding that T-dubs out here and the first thing I noticed about it was how stable it is in the super deep gravel. This is not, we're back to not stable. Huh. Well, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I don't like it. I don't think I like it. I think I don't like it. Huh. Wow. I didn't think I wouldn't like it. I don't like it. Let's talk about why. Interesting that I came into this thinking this could be the solution, the unicorn of all dual sports, and did not consider what all that extra power that's so great for the highway means for all of the riding that I want to do, which is the off-pavement riding. This bike is twitchy and difficult to control. I admit that I'm not the target demographic for this bike. I'm not a spectacular rider. I'm not a fast rider, and I'm not someone that seeks out the fastest, most extreme experiences. I don't take things as fast as possible. That's never my goal. I'm a sightseer. I'm a person that wants to get out, and I enjoy riding, and I enjoy riding fast, but it's not the purpose of my riding. It's a byproduct that I enjoy. And this bike is really for those people that want the fastest, most unhinged experience possible. This bike is so hard to control. It's a workout. Riding it is a workout, even for an experienced rider. You really need to work your body position, lean forward when you're accelerating, lean back when you're slowing down, and work with the bike. It's like Dallas in Canada said about the race bikes. He said, if you don't ride that RX, it'll ride you. This bike is kind of riding me today. And honestly, I'm surprised, but also kind of stoked because I'm not going to make a $13,000 purchase today. Sometimes that happens when I come and ride bikes that I'm worried about. So that is to say, it does everything I thought it would do. This bike is fine on the highway, but it's not some magical unicorn adventure bike substitute. It's a big dual sport that you're riding on the highway and it feels like it. So feels more like a 500 EXCF or a 450L than any adventure bike I've ever ridden. So if on-road comfort is a priority or even on your list, it doesn't need to be the top priority. This isn't it. This is not it. Off the road, great suspension, more power than you could ever want or need. That's great when you're climbing hills or carrying lots of gear. This bike does not like to go slow. So if your off-road riding involves anything like tight enduro single track or even sort of technical uphills or technical abandoned logging roads, if you're doing anything but riding flat out all the time, this bike is more than you need and it may get in your way. I realize I'm making a lot of grand generalizations based on a limited amount of time with this bike. Very capable, very fast, very fun in the right hands, but you have to know that this is what you want because you got to work for that capability and speed. That's what I'm saying. So not for the new rider, I don't think. I wouldn't recommend this to someone without a lot of experience or I wouldn't recommend it to someone that doesn't know exactly what they're getting themselves into. But if this is what you're looking for, there's nothing like it. It hits a sweet spot. For me as a rider, 7 years in, it's not the move. This is not a bike that I would want to own and ride. It's just, I'm thinking about it too much. I'm not enjoying riding. I would get used to it, right? But still, it's one of those bikes where you have to hold back. You have to control it. And I like to ride smaller bikes personally that I can just go flat out all the time, knowing that I'm going to run out of power long before I get myself in trouble. This is not it. This bike is a beast. It is a beast. This is a fast, capable, fun bike. It's just not for me. Pretty happy about that because I was worried I was going to want to buy one. So again, I want to say thank you to Power Motorsports and Sublimity for the opportunity to take this bike out, test ride it, get it on some gravel and enjoy it. I'll put their website in the description, and if you're looking for a bike, KTM, Kawasaki, Stark, Varg, they have Yamahas. Check out the website, even if you're not local, because they make deals, they deliver. So they're a great dealership. They do a lot of volume, they make good deals. And they have like crazy sales right now, like a 500 EXCF is $10,000. That's tempting. Anyway, that's my time, my test ride, my limited experience with the KTM 690 Adventure Adventure R. If you've owned one of these, please let me know in the comments how wrong I am or how right I am, or maybe some nuances that I missed, because it's hard to tease out. This isn't a review, it's just a test ride and first impressions. So if you've spent a lot of time with the bike, what do you think about it? What would you say to someone that's thinking about buying one? So this is my second test ride today. If you haven't yet, check out the TW200 test ride and or my full playlist of, it's like almost 100 test rides now, I think. Maybe not that many, but I have a large playlist of test ride videos, which I'll link for you. And please consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more dual sport adventure stuff, because I'm the dork on the road and I want to be your internet riding buddy, and I'm better than your regular riding buddies because I come with a mute button. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.